We're just going to talk about Kadena today first. And I'm not even going to wait till somebody asks for it because I bet it's already on there. So let's just get it done first. And there are so many folks who want to know about it, which honestly, even though I guess price has made up for it. Yeah, it's showing some pretty good signs here, but just a couple weeks ago, it was par for the course at best. However, Kadena since then, it's a mid-strong alt in terms of structurally and what's going on EMA crosswise. So the white is the daily 10 EMA. You have the purple. So on this, I need purple on input. That shouldn't say that. Might be a... Yes. Okay, so from last time, last show, it might have just been Tuesday or last Thursday. Let's see, what would that be? Oh, maybe both. I anticipated the daily 89 would be resistance and that it would form a triangle because you have so much support here. You have the weekly 10, the origin line, this yellow thing. Can you see that yellow one here? I talked about this last. I think I should make it a thicker line. There we go. So that yellow line goes way back in time. It's a very important line. Have the weekly 10 on it, and you have an incoming potential bullish cross. And this daily 10 EMA, it's in and of itself a support. So you have the most important EMA of all as support. You have another very important EMA, which is going to have a bullish cross as support, potential bullish cross, and you have an origin line here. Like, yeah, it's possible that Kadena breaks down with Bitcoin, but it's a fairly safe bet that you're going to have at least one more lower high before that happens. I don't see Kadena going like this anytime soon. So Kadena, similar to my Bitcoin analysis, I still see more sideways. I'm going to kind of stick with what I mean, look, it stayed in my triangle so far. So I really do anticipate in the Tuesday of next week is when it's going to break out of this. Let's see if this aligns. Let me make sure my triangle agrees with that. All right. So like 4 or 5 days out. Yeah, so that's about 4. So it could go to the tip of this damn triangle. And so what's going to cause the top of the triangle, again, I didn't explain that part, is the daily 89. This purple stuff. Right there. So I think the purple is going to continue being used as resistance, but I think buyers are going to continue stepping in. And honestly, this chart is kind of suggesting with this bullish cross that the buyers are going to win. And on Bitcoin, it's kind of, I'm leaning that way too. So I would guess at this point, even though my opinion could change, depending on how Bitcoin both closes the week, which could be a fake out, that's not going to give me the best information, but how the tiny small candles interact with Bitcoin's weekly 10 EMA early next week, that's going to give us a really good indication of what Kadena is going to do, better than Kadena Price itself, in my opinion. So if you're a Kadena fan, I think looking at Bitcoin's interaction on small candles with the weekly 10 next week after the weekly, even Sunday night after the next week starts, like at the very beginning of the week, the first few hours, I still think that how price interacts on Bitcoin with the red line, the weekly 10, is going to give you a better indication of which way this is going to break, as opposed to trying to interpret Kadena Price for itself. No, it's just going to depend on Bitcoin. So look at Bitcoin for a primary indicator, and you're just going to have one line, the weekly 10 EMA. So look at how the 5-minute candles, are they dancing on it or are they bumping their head on it? So if Bitcoin's bumping its head on it, it's going to break down most likely. If Bitcoin's using it as support and making slightly higher highs and higher lows on tiny time frames, it's probably going to break up. And that would be my guess for Kadena, because also on Bitcoin, I'm anticipating some more sideways until next week, and I think that adds fuel to the fire on this while it's already in my triangle. So triple support. Yeah, you got triple support, really only single resistance, and you have the time element with this, particular to Bitcoin, because I don't think the whale games are, I think they're set up for next week, wants to wait until the weekly closure to do something weird on Monday, and then the move starts on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday. So the timing of this is, the time axis is very important on this analysis as well. And I usually don't incorporate that because I think timing the market's kind of silly. But because it's the first time Bitcoin and most altcoins have interacted with their weekly 10 in a while, with this type of vigor, I think it's going to have to the timing of this is going to be a little easier to spot. And Kadena's breakout of this could be pretty big. If Bitcoin, honestly, I'm leaning up. I think I'm leaning up at this time on Bitcoin. So Kadena's break up. I mean, even though I don't necessarily think it's going to hit the next origin line up, but let's say however, last time I said that, I don't think it'll go above this box. It did. It did go above my box. However, so let me get rid of some of this stuff. All right. The most bullish move I could see is if Bitcoin goes up for another 14 days. I mean, Kadena could hit this next origin line. I guess that's not too terribly far up. That's only 55%. And shit, Ethereum has already gone up 115% from its bottom. Much bigger market cap. That would be the most bullish I could see it. And it'll probably happen at the time that it aligns with some horizontal. So let me go to a larger time frame. This will be a little resistance right here. So watch out for this level. You need this level on your chart. 250's that's going to be a bit of resistance there, right at 250. But I'm looking for something a little higher here. Yeah, probably just all this area where you have the wicks up, wicks down, make a box, and extend it. Yeah, so if it comes up to that point, it's going to do it roughly at that time. It'll do it somewhere in this area here. Let's see what. That's the right. That's 30. That's too big. It'll happen sooner. Based off my Bitcoin analysis that I just did. So if you're watching the recording of this and haven't seen the Bitcoin, it'll make more sense if you watch my Bitcoin analysis. Why I think it'd have to happen sooner. Maybe I just should have marked off the date and then made the triangle that size, Tim, instead of trial and error. All right. Anyway, so yeah, Kadena. So that level is right at 333. That would be my most bullish case of how high Kadena goes. Should Bitcoin even get to the 28 to 30, I could see a 55% move from current price. And honestly, Kadena is putting work and time in interacting with this weekly 10. Since August 1st, it has 11 days interacting with this guy. That's not bad. And I don't know if any of you are on here watching right now who were with me in the bull market. Something I stress so much because it's so important is if you don't put time in on the weekly 10 as you're trying to cross above it, whatever run you have will likely be smaller. And if it's not small, it's going to come straight back down. And I mean, Kadena's actually, so you have triple resistance. You will have put in 2 to 3 weeks of work on the weekly 10 to prove it. I've interacted with you. I can, like next, bye. You can't say bye to it until you interact with it for a couple weeks, right? I'm not trying to, cover Kadena because in a bullish sense because it gets views or I think. I'm covering it because it does get views, but I'm not being bullish because of that. So for anybody who's doesn't watch my channel very much and you're just watching because of Kadena or whatever, whether it's on the live show or on the recording, if I'm bearish on this, I will tell you, right? And on that note, I haven't done the downside targets. It's really pretty easy. That triple support. Well, if it becomes resistance, this is going to drop hard. It's going to be easy to spot too, because it's not just going to. Here, let me zoom into it. It's not just going to, at one day out of nowhere, go, boom. No, it won't. Neither will Bitcoin. So this triple support, it's not just going to go, it's not just going to plot below. No, you're going to have it go like this, use as resistance, all that kind of stuff, and then you're going to go down. So the warning shots for this are going to be very obvious. And that's a good thing, but at the same rate, because the same reasons why it's so obvious will create a large drawdown. Yeah, it'll it'll go down pretty hard. So I want you to be aware of that. And so that triple support area right behind me, currently it's at about, I don't know, roughly 211. Is kind of a key area, but it is ascending. So next week that 211 could be 215, right? And if it falls off 215 instead of 211, it initiates down. So just realize that's an ascending area. And so next week it could be, at about 215 actually. Next week. And that is upside, downside, and middle of the range analysis for Kadena. I really hope that was helpful because I covered up, down, and in the middle what to watch out for. Hopefully I didn't blab too much. There you go, Kadena lovers.